Thank you for coming back to De-Escalation Strategies Part 3. During this video, we will discuss triggers and when there is a fear of losing control. Before we go any further, can you think of any words that get underneath your skin or runs your motor hot? For example, I get unglued when someone talks about my mama. And you better not verbally or physically be abusive to any female or senior citizen in my presence where I can see and hear you? Who? I wish they would. I'm from the dirty South and I don't do disrespect. I know that's my trigger, and that's what I have to watch out for. I didn't learn this when I was in elementary and middle school, when kids were saying all those mean things about me and my mom. It didn't hit me until I got into high school and started to have, a little thicker skin. I stopped worrying about what people said. And you know what happened? They stopped talking. Now imagine if I knew then what I know now. I could have avoided, a handful of verbal altercations. Now, as adults, if we see a student being triggered, what can we do to keep him or her from blowing up or going off? Is what we're about to discuss during this section. One thing we can do is respond with empathy. When a student is triggered, he or she is in fear of losing control, and our response should be genuine and authentic. Now, I'm sure it might be difficult to respond to student behavior with empathy, but when you show students you understand and respect their needs, you build mutual trust and rapport. Also, don't assume you know how a student is feeling. It's important to be attentive to students' nonverbal cues to understand how they might be feeling, but it's equally important to ask them directly. When you ask open-ended questions, students can share what's on their minds without feeling like you've already sized up the situation. For example, ask, is there something about today that's been hard for you? You see, this question opens the front door to conversation. Rather than saying something like, looks like you're having a bad day. Is that true? Empathy requires active listening. That means giving your full attention and listening to both the student's words and tone of voice. Let students know you have the right to feel the way they feel. We may not agree with their choices. We might not think that their actions are the best. But it's important to recognize that the way they're feeling is real to them. Showing empathy is a way to build a lasting relationship. You can also use specific praise to show approval. When you use specific praise, you develop a stronger relationship with students. Specific praise combines general praise with a specific description of the behavior. It's fairly quick, but gives a bit more information about what the student has done to receive praise. Here's an example. Adri, I just love the way you're taking notes on your tablet. With this comment, Adri knows what I'm praising her for. Now, when I make this comment publicly in the room, others are more likely to repeat the same behavior in hopes of me recognizing their note-taking skills. If you see a student losing control, try checking in to see if everything is going okay. Consider speaking to the student privately instead of from across the room. While having your conversation, speak with them at an eye-to-eye level instead of standing over them or having the student to look up to you while you're talking. When they are talking, are you listening and asking questions? Are you working to establish a timeline with the intent to help the student solve the problem? Try addressing the student's needs. For instance, is the student hungry? Is the student thirsty? Is the student tired? Does he or she need a certain school supply? Need medication? Does the student have an academic deficiency? What does the student need to be successful? Up next, we have the escalation strategies, part 4.